Hi, this is Dan Sheffield, and welcome to this tour for our Teachers Resources course. Here we're talking about getting started with Superstar Online, and specifically we're talking about setting up classes, students, and courses for the teacher. So this is what the teacher would normally see when they log in. Of course, there may be different courses here, but they would see a list of the courses that are available for their class. Now, what I'm going to do is go over to what the site administrator would see. And I want to show you that we have three types of accounts. We have a student account, a teacher account, and a site administrator. Now, the student account would see whatever courses are assigned to that class that the student's in. That's pretty much it. Then they would be able to access those courses. The site administrator is the person who sets up the site for the school, and they usually import the students and teachers into the system and give them a username and password, and then assign and create classes and assign courses to the classes. The site administrator can also add students one at a time if they want. The teacher account is the one that we're most interested in. Notice that when we chose teacher, that we had managed students and managed classes came up. And when these boxes are checked by the site administrator, and they are by default, then that gives the teachers a lot more power and a lot more ability to manage their own class. One of the things that I strongly recommend is that you do create teacher accounts. And if you are the site administrator and the teacher, that you create one account for the site administrator and one account for your role as a teacher. They are two separate roles. The site administrator cannot access the courses. And the teacher has a lot of features and things that they can do, especially in our student management system, that the site administrator can't do. So I suggest that you create two separate accounts, even if it's the same person that's going to use both accounts. Another thing that I recommend is that if you're a computer lab teacher, that you make sure that the site administrator creates a master teacher account for you. So to do that, they would just check each one of the classes that are in the system and then go down to the bottom and click on Create when they set up the teacher account for you. So that's a little overview of what the site administrator sees. Let's go back to the teacher features and the teacher setup. So what we recommend is when the teacher logs in for the first time, that they look at the courses that are assigned to the class. And if they want to change the courses, they can click on Edit Class. Now notice that we see Add Subclass. That's something that we're going to cover a little bit later. But they would click on Edit Class, and then they can go down, and if they see a course that the class does not need, then they would uncheck those courses. We also like to see them click on Subclass Students, see only subclass courses. So that is something that they would want to check. And then they can scroll down, and if they see a list of the students, they can see that each one of the students in their class is checked. And if they're not checked, then they can check them and add them to the class and then click on Update. Now, the teacher can also click on Students. When they click on Students, normally this comes up arranged by name, and it shows all of the students that are in the school. But to make it easier, click on Class, Arranged by Class, and now they will see a list of the students that are in their class, and not all of the other students. And if the teacher decides that, well, they've got a student in their class that they don't need, they can click on Edit by the name of that student, and they can go down and they can uncheck that student and remove them from the class. And if the student has moved out of the area, out of the school, and may come back, they can also make the student inactive by checking here, and then it won't, unchecking there rather, and that seat won't be accounted against the seats that the school has. Now, the teacher cannot delete students. Only the site administrator can delete students. Now, if the teacher looks at the list of students and they see that the username or password is too difficult and they want to make it easier for their students, especially in pre-K and kindergarten, they can click on Edit by the name of the student, and then they can go down to the login name, and then they can change the login name to something that's easier. One note about the login names, we have some information here about what you can and can't use. So we have some symbols you can use, but you cannot use capitals in the login name, and you cannot use the name of a login name of someone who already has that name. Each login name has to be unique. Our passwords don't show. So even if each student has a password, but we don't show the passwords because we have a secure system. So if the teacher wants to change the password, they just click in the box and choose a new password and click on Update. So it's that easy to change the username of the student and the password. If you do change the username and password, we strongly recommend that you coordinate that with the site administrator and or any other teacher that may have access to that class. So that's all we're going to cover in this quick tour, and we'll cover some more items in the next one.